All right, and welcome back to another episode of the Baseline Bums podcast. It is your host, Rob, aka B-Ball Archives, and once again, I am joined by my homie, AJ. Thank you for being here, my dude.
Thank you, sir. It is a beautiful, beautiful evening. We are getting ready to talk about the awesome trade deadline that was very eventful, I think. Not a whole lot of star power, but very eventful nonetheless. And then we got to talk about some other things, maybe even give a Super Bowl prediction or two, and specifically predicting what Usher is going to sing for the halftime show.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we all know he might let it burn, but I mean, okay. But that being said, yes, we will dive into a little bit of Super Bowl stuff as well. But yeah, we got a lot of good trade deadline stuff to discuss. And as you were saying, there's not a ton of star power, but there was a lot of key moves that were made. To me, whenever I'm looking at a couple of the teams that did the best this trade deadline, I don't think any team did better than the Knicks.
I agree.
Yeah, absolutely. Acquiring Bogdanovich and Burks, both guys who are averaging above 40% from beyond the arc, just give Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson some guys that can stretch the floor and hit big shots. And to be brutally honest, whenever they got rid of Emmanuel Quickley and RJ Barrett, they desperately needed guys like that in the rotation. And I think that these guys are an upgrade from that. And
for sure
could be guys that know their role a little bit more. So I'm looking at the Knicks as the main winners here.
Yeah, the Knicks definitely crushed it, man. They got a lot deeper, like way deeper. And it's exciting. Once they get OG back, it's going to be even better. It's going to be fun to see kind of what that team ends up being and then seeing how far they can go. I mean, they have the tools, they have the personnel. Let's see if they can give the Bucks a run for the money, the Sixers a run for the money. Can they keep up with the Celtics? So it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun to see. It's gonna be a lot of fun to see. A lot of basketball left, but also I kind of really liked what the Mavs did. Yes. I think what the Mavs did was fantastic. Just coming in and Gafford's a dude that watching him play against the Spurs, you're like, who is this guy? He was not scared of Wemby. He was going after him. He was grabbing rebounds over him. So watching his hustle and also adding PJ Washington to the mix too. I mean, seems like a pretty nice little haul. And, I think what I think is going to what happened was Kyrie was like, I don't like this Grant Williams guy. And Mark Cuban was like, okay, cool. And then got rid of him.
And it just so happened like Grant Williams really wasn't thriving in that Mavs system. His efficiency was down since his days as a Celtic. His scoring really kind of took a dip as well. And he was really just kind of questioning his place in that rotation. And they immediately bring in two guys that can help their front court better than what he could do. And giving Luka more lob threats like PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford, that's just going to make their offense even more dynamic. So I think,
for sure,
I think you hit the nail on the head. They are the other big winner from this trade deadline. I think there's really no two other teams that are thriving more than they are since the end of the trade deadline. Definitely.
I will say honorable mention probably to the Sixers. I want to see what Buddy Hield is going to do as a Sixer. Having him there to spread the floor, also another option. Basically they're putting all their eggs in this basket that Joel Embiid is going to be the guy, and we got to spread the floor to make him happy. So we'll see how that ends up. And then a very underwhelming trade was the Spurs trade. I think we just did it to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we are just trying to acquire future assets, and we know that Doug McDermott is not a future asset. So if we're going to try to get anything for him, now is the time for that. He was up towards the top of the league leaders in 3-point percentage, so he can obviously help a team stretch the floor in that regard, get you a rebound or two. He's not going to really do a whole lot much else, but dude, that's his market value. So like,
Right, for sure.
it's not like a needle mover, but I don't view it as a bad move per se.
It's just Brian Wright's obsessed with second round picks, man. Like I don't know how many second round picks we have, but I think every Spurs fan, they definitely went Marcus Morris. Wait, was that the twin that stood us up at the prom? And everyone was like, "Son of a bitch, that was the guy that stood us up at the prom."
Well, we're almost certainly gonna buy him out.
Oh, for sure.
There's no way he even puts on a Spurs uniform. As soon as we made that trade, we were combining, that pick with somebody that we knew we were immediately gonna buy out. So
Yeah. No, he's not gonna see a Spurs uniform still. Uh and we'll see where he ends up.
yeah,
Probably he might get sent back to Indiana. We'll see. He might go back to the Sixers. Who knows? But
yeah,
not my problem.
he's gonna be on some team that's gonna need some ninth or 10th dude off the bench. He's really not a needle mover nowadays. And I mean, he never was a amazing player, but he was a meaningful role player for a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, not gonna be a Spurs player.
I
Um,
yeah, I think I think we're setting up for hopefully something a big splash during the off season at some point. I mean, I think we have to. The just watching us play basketball is so tough, especially right now, right before the All-Star game. I think our team's just tired. They look tired. They look like they're running in sand essentially. So I think hopefully we can get some good rest over the break, but it'd be really nice to try to win some games here and there. But the past two games that they played were they were hard to watch, man. They were hard to watch.
so many bad turnovers,
Just
just the dumbest turnovers where it's like we're dribbling ourselves into tough situations and then we're just picking up the ball and just trying to pass ourselves out of it, or we're just being aggressive and sporadic for no reason at all. It just doesn't look like fluid offense, and
no. And
it's
then defense wise, we're so slow in rotation. It's
oh
so
yeah.
bad.
Oh,
It's so bad.
so slow, so slow. I mean, and there's some key people that we're pointing to, like Keldon doesn't look like he's trying much on defense. Zach Collins, anytime he's in the game, he looks like Swiss cheese on defense. And there's times even where if Wemby doesn't feel like he's getting a block or doesn't feel like he can impact the play from with his length, then
Yeah.
he can check out every once in a while on defense. I'm seeing it, and I wish that he would want to be a little bit more active. But at the end of the day, I think these are things that are going to be ironed out and figured out with time. But yeah, it's not encouraging to see right now, is it?
No, it's really not. And it's just it's easily the most games Wimby's ever played in his career. It is, short career, but um I think we're just seeing the effects of just a really long season and how it can just beat you down, especially when you're getting, when the first quarter of the entire season you're getting blown out by 40. So, you start there and then you try to get some momentum, you win a couple games and then you just get, hit again in the mouth. So, I'm curious to see if we're able to hopefully push this into I guess the next level and try to come back after the All-Star game, maybe refocused, regrouped. But man, it's really hard to watch. And what upsets me a little bit is we could have traded a second round pick for Corey Joseph. I mean, that would have been cool to get back. Just a veteran point guard to just kind of finish up the season, maybe help the young guys. Like the dude's an NBA champion, so
Yeah, he
I mean,
does have a lot of experience that he could sort of, disperse amongst the young players. I agree with that. I think there's room for a veteran point guard. I'm still kind of hoping we take a strong look at a guy like Spencer Dinwiddie,
sure,
like a guy that, can hit some shots, he can facilitate, he knows how to handle the ball within the flow of an offense, and he's not going to make it all about him. And so like
right.
I think I'm in total agreement with you. We could use a veteran or two like that, especially at the point guard position.
I just hope that we don't trade for more second round picks because that would drive me off the wall. I
Well,
mean, it drove me off the wall. It was just like, hey man, like let's stop tanking for once. Like let's try to do what the Cowboys don't do and go all in and actually make something happen. Like that's my thing. Is just we just gotta show that I guess the Spurs need to show that they care about the fans a little bit and try to get some W's. That's all.
yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with that. I just think that we're a team that when we push our chips in, we have to know it's going to be a smart all in move, and we're not just going to throw our chips in willy nilly. Kind of like OKC did, even though it worked out.
Yeah.
Well, so far it's worked out, but what I'm saying, is that when we put our chips in the next 2 or 3 years, we are going to make a big move. Will it be big enough to sort of compete with the rest of the league? Maybe, but I do think that we are going to make a couple of massive moves within the next 2 or 3 years. Man, I mean, being patient is a whole nother level though. Like we're going to be waiting and waiting, and we may
Yeah.
have another 2025 win season even
Oh
next
man.
year.
Oh
Yeah,
man.
but speaking
Ugh.
of losers, speaking of losers, I feel like there was some other losers at the trade deadline. Like I was looking at the Lakers and the Warriors as two teams that I was like, dude, these teams are getting older. They need to make a move to re-energize their lineup. And neither of these older teams made a move.
Nothing.
Yeah, nothing at all. And I was like, dude, aren't you trying to win and capitalize while your aging superstars are still around? Like, don't you want to try to add some longevity to their career, to their chance to bring you a title? And I guess Rob Palinka's answering that question like, nah, we're good.
We'll go out and buy Wimby in like 5 years.
Oh,
Like
God, don't say that. Don't say that. Although that's what he's thinking. He's like,
oh,
yeah,
everyone's thinking that, and
I'm,
that's not going to happen. There were a lot of there were a few deals I was like, I don't even know what this even does to you, but sure, why not? Like the OKC one kind of throws me off a little bit with why they wanted to go after Gordon Hayward. Um, I don't know if it's a like a dump, salary dump, or really why? Because I mean, it just seems weird. I don't know if he
yeah,
will fit. He might fit, but it seems like a weird trade for both parties.
yeah. I don't think it really makes a ton of sense, but at the same time, I think it's more just a lateral move. I mean, they got rid of Davis Bertans and Trey Mann, two guys that were coming off the bench in various capacities, and you were able to bring in a guy like Gordon Hayward, who can get you 20 points off the bench or potentially even start if there's a couple of injuries to your team.
Yeah,
If Lou Dort is hurt or Jalen Williams is hurt or Josh Giddey, if he's got like a string of injuries, that Gordon Hayward can kind of fill that 2 spot or 3 spot effectively and provide a little bit of veteran leadership.
yeah,
We were just talking about adding a veteran to the lineup. He provides that as well.
yeah. It just doesn't really move the needle for me
Yeah.
much. It
No,
just
I
it's like
agree.
eh.
I agree. But as someone that's had Gordon Hayward on his fantasy team all year, he's had some nice games. He has.
Yeah,
He's
for
injured now,
sure.
but he's had some nice games.
Yeah, I get that. I get that. So I mean, we'll see what happens in the offseason. My question is for the Spurs, like, what's an appropriate time to book your vacation after the season ends? Like, do you wait a week, 3 days? Do you like try to get some workouts in and then maybe like the second round of the playoffs you peace out? Like, what's the appropriate time? I'm just curious.
I think you go on vacation the day after you're done playing. I think you're literally on a beach the next day. Like
Yeah,
that's how you got to handle it. That's honestly how I would do it. I would be toes in the sand 12 hours after the last whistle.
It's like, guys, I'm not gonna go on the team jet. I'm catching my own plane. I will see you guys sometime next year.
Right. I'm like, well, I mean, is the team plane going to Bora Bora? Because that's where the fuck I'm going. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, yeah, like I'm about to relax for a little bit. I mean, I don't know. I guess it just depends what year you are. Like, if you're a rookie, then yeah, you should get right back to it. But I mean, if you're a seasoned veteran, man, go take a vacation. I'm
Yeah.
I'm taking a vacation right away.
I was curious on what the respectable time is, because for me it's like, yeah, I think I was like 3 days, probably a good amount of time,
Yeah.
just in case you need to clean out your locker or something.
Right. Yeah, you may have some reporters wanting some questions or some shit like that, but yeah, honestly, more reason to dip out.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, is there any other trades you wanted to mention? There's
I'm
nothing.
surprised. I'm surprised Dejounte Murray didn't get traded. He seemed to be a big talk of a lot of people, and then a lot of things stopped. I think with the Lakers, it was mostly because of Austin Reeves. They don't want to trade Austin Reeves, so that deal fell through. And then with the Pelicans, I don't think they could find the right pieces for that. That one, I'm surprised he didn't get traded. Um, and I think that's really it.
Yeah, there were
No-
so many talks about him being traded. Like, oh, where could DeJounte best fit in? Of course, there was memes and graphics with him on the Lakers within 2 hours of,
right.
those rumors. But I really thought I'm in agreement with you. I thought that he was really going to move. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, there was a couple other moves that I thought were pretty decent. Xavier Tillman went to the Celtics for 2 second-round picks and Lamar Stevens. He played pretty well for the Grizzlies so far this season. There has been a lot of front court injuries for the Grizzlies, and he kind of
Right.
stepped up and was playing pretty well. And so he just adds another layer to this already dangerous Celtics team. So I think that was a meaningful move that I think could end up being some kind of factor late in the season, late in the playoffs. If there's an injury, that could end up providing the depth they need. So yeah,
Yeah.
that was a move.
Steven Adams to the Rockets was interesting.
Yeah,
And
that,
then
that was interesting.
yeah, that one, I don't know. I mean, he can bring some good stuff. He brings leadership and some tenacity on the floor, but you know, the Rockets kind of have that piece. So I don't know what his role would be really.
Yeah, I mean the enforcer. Like
Right.
he's literally gonna be Bill Lambier down low, but with an accent.
So, and then I just, Victor Oladipo is always part of some kind of trade. So that poor guy.
Yeah, he's getting thrown into something constantly.
Probably,
Dude, another trade that kind of had me scratching my head was Kelly Olynyk going to the Raptors.
yeah, and Obaji, yeah,
Yeah,
that one was, I don't know.
it was like, I mean, Agbaji, like that makes sense. They're trying to rebuild, get some young guys to rejuvenate the lineup. Yeah, sure, there's some good upside, but Kelly Olynyk, like, why bring in a guy like Kelly Olynyk if you're trying to rebuild? That doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah,
Um,
the GMs are probably owing each other dinners and stuff because they're like, "Thank you so much, I owe you one for getting some of these contracts." I can only imagine, what I don't have the numbers off the top of my head, but I'm sure Kelly Olynyk, because he's been in the league for so long, is worth a pretty good little penny. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But so, I think the Spurs next during the offseason will probably end up going after LeBron James more than likely.
yeah,
And then LeBron James will end his career with the Spurs, and him and Wimby will like open up their own winery. It's gonna be great.
right, and then he'll pass it to Bronny, who will also have created a Spurs legacy of his own. Yes,
Yeah,
I see all of this happening.
yeah, and then it's gonna be Manu as the head coach and LeBron as the assistant.
LeBron as Manu's assistant. I fucking love that. That would be ridiculous. I'm gonna have to type that into AI and put that graphic below.
He's like, LeBron, we need to go for a three.
Right. He's like, you're part bear. Oh my gosh, yeah. Fucking brilliant. Yeah, that was some great mental imagery right there. Um, but yeah, honestly, I think that kind of wraps up trade deadline talk. There was a lot of trades, but there was no massive trade line deals that were done, but we wrapped up a lot of the good role players that got moved. Let's just go ahead and segue on to all-star selections, voting, all kinds of shenanigans. We got some all-stars, some first-time all-stars, some guys that have been doing it for 2 decades. LeBron James, Jesus Christ, 2 decades as an all-star, and he's still a starter.
it's
Absolutely
it's
bonkers.
it's insane. Well, I mean, he also has like just the everyone following him, all of his fans that have all of his jerseys from Cavs one, Heat back to the Cavs to LA, like they have his US jersey. So and he has a pretty good following in China too. So that always seems to help with the numbers. But yeah, man, it, he might be he's a special athlete, man. I don't want to say what I thought I was going to say, but he's a special athlete.
Yeah, I know you're always coming in with some fresh LeBron hate, but we can steer the conversation away from LeBron. But I think we both have talked about this previously. The one guy we feel like should not be a starter is Damian Lillard in the East. Why
Yeah.
why is Damian Lillard starting in the All-Star game when we got guys like Jalen Brunson who have been balling out all season long and been more efficient, better stats, more integral to the team's success? Why is Dame starting?
uh, I have no idea. I cannot answer that question for you. Also, I mean, Trey Young wouldn't have started if Joel Embiid didn't get hurt. So, that's it's. I think Trey Young should have been an All Star, no doubt. Um, why Damian? I mean, Damian has not looked good as a Milwaukee Buck. He just hasn't. Just has not looked great. Hopefully, Pat Bev can pull something out of him. We didn't talk about that trade too. Pat Bev's a Buck now,
Yes.
and so hopefully Pat Bev can help motivate him like he did Westbrook, and kind of get under his skin so he can prove something. Maybe that's why they made the move. But it's yeah, it, I think he just has the name. Maybe people in Portland just got bored and they just voted a bunch of times. It is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, it just seems like whenever I'm looking at things statistically and how the Bucks have been winning, it really hasn't been through the play of Damian Lillard. His stats, I mean, we knew his stats were going to go down. He's playing alongside of one of the best players on the planet. Of course, his stats are going to take a hit,
Right.
but I didn't expect his efficiency to go down as much as it has. So it's not only are his
Yeah.
counting stats going down, but the way he's getting to the rim and the way he's scoring from beyond the arc just is less efficient than he once was. And that's
Mm-hmm.
it's hard to ignore that when you have guys like Jalen Brunson who are scoring more points, more assists on 6 or 7 better percentage from the field, and their team's doing fantastic as well. And so it's
Right.
like it's hard to justify where he's at, but he's playing well. I don't want to shit on Damian Lillard. It's just you got to split hairs when you're talking about all-star selections.
For sure. Yeah. No, absolutely. So, there's just a lot. I mean, I think, I don't know if you saw this, but JJ Redick made a comment and he said we should expand the roster to 15. And I think he's absolutely right about that at this point, because it's just, we're going to be splitting hairs, but we're still going to be doing it even at 15. So, there's always going to be people that are left out. So how do you combat that? And just, there really is no rhyme or reason because it's fan voting. So if we just have a player that has a great following like a Damian Lillard, not much we can do about it. But yeah, I'm not surprised Wimby didn't get it, but it would have been nice for him to be reserved. But our team's so bad. And I think if he would have had a better performance in Madison Square Garden, that might have kind of tilted over the edge. But um, you know, it is
I,
what it is. He'll make it next year.
yeah, I agree. But part of me thinks that no matter what Wemby did, he was never going to be an all-star his rookie season. I think
That's
that
fair.
people have such high expectations for rookies making the all-star that it's damn near impossible unless your team is so good and you're a huge reason of why that's the case, and that just hasn't been true for a long time. And um and it's it's I guess we're kind of seeing that with this year with Paulo Banquero, who I feel like was a borderline all-star player but somehow made it in. He's not having too different of a season statistically. It's just more so of where his team's at and how he's contributed to wins. So I think, yeah, we honestly just need to not be last in the West for Wemby to be in more consideration.
No, that's a fair point. Man, no Kings got on there, which is kind of wild to me.
Domantas Sabonis being fifth in MVP voting, but not making an all-star team is fucking insane.
Yeah,
It
no,
is criminal. Like
it is
literally criminal. Like they're robbing him of that spot.
I
And
agree.
yeah.
I agree. But
And that's coming from two people who want to see Wembanyama take up one of those Western Conference front court spots.
oh yeah, well, I mean, I think, but I think this is kind of going back to just fan voting, and the fans are going to vote for LeBron James and Anthony Davis, and there's nothing you can do about it, and that's just kind of what it is. And so because of that, you have great players like Sabonis that aren't gonna, or even Jamal Murray too, like that are just not gonna get the All Star because you have to fill in that just guys who've been in the league for much longer.
Yeah, absolutely. You gotta pay your way a little bit, and there's guys that are extending their careers into just unforeseen territory. So you're absolutely right. It's hard to be an all-star whenever there's guys that are 10, 15, now 20-year all-stars. Um,
Yeah, I mean,
Absolutely mind-boggling.
yeah, if you look at the rosters, I mean, Paulo's definitely the youngest player on both squads, but you look at the West and it's guys that have been there for, I think Ant might be the youngest guy, but I mean, you look at the other ones and they've all had 5, 7, 10 years in the NBA plus. So, I mean, the West is just hard to make an all-star team because of all the stars that they have. But
Oh
it's
yeah.
gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun to watch. Do you think we get to 200 points,
Dude, I have no idea.
like 201 to 205 or something like that?
Yeah, maybe like 245, maybe 300. Yeah, honestly, I have no idea. It's not a competitive game to where like I even care about the score. I just hope that no one gets hurt, to be brutally
Yeah,
honest, because some
for sure.
guys try some really dumb shit, and it's just so discouraging whenever you see injuries in the All-Star game. So I want the dudes to have fun, but god damn it, just don't get hurt.
Yeah,
Just
it's
yeah.
yeah, I agree, but I think we're going to see a 200 or pretty close to it. That would mean 50 points a quarter, which I think is very doable in today's NBA, especially in an all-star game in today's NBA. So I think it's going to be just everyone shooting threes. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of anything until maybe the last 5-10 minutes of the fourth quarter. But even then, it's going to be super slow. I mean, it's going to be just a lot of no defense. But
Yeah. Oh
but
yeah.
it'd be fun. It would be fun if they did play a lot of defense and we had like a 75 to 82 score, but that's never going to happen.
Yeah, well that's like honestly like I want there to be some sort of like bragging rights thing built in where it's I don't know, you got to have something more meaningful to where you're actually gonna get guys to compete, but like not want to like hurt each other, but just make it where the game's a little bit more meaningful. I mean, that's
I
the only
got it.
way. That's the only reason I see any defense being played.
I got it.
What's up? What's your solution?
Slam ball.
Slam ball, dude. Just add trampolines. That's it.
Add trampolines, add checking into the boards, and it's going to be a lot more fun. You can just imagine like Tyrese Halliburton just like with the helmet and like the pads just running down. Oh, that'd be great.
Oh yeah, dude. Just like dishing it up to like Bam Adebayo flying down. Just yeah, that would be
It's like
terrifying.
he didn't even use a trampoline.
Yeah, dude, that would be wild. But yeah, I think something to zhuzh it up to where they would care about defense. But I think some of these young guys that have never played in an All-Star game before, they are gonna care. Like Scotty Barnes, we talked about Trey Young earlier. Like I think the guys where it still feels new. Like I still feel like with Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, this feels new. So it's
Yeah.
it's like they still want to showcase themselves whenever they're playing against the best. So I
Who
think
do
for the young guys, it does feel that way.
who do you got for MVP?
Who do I have for MVP? I think I'm gonna go Luca.
It's a good one. It's a
I
good
think I
one.
think I'm gonna go Luca. I think he's just gonna go off. He's gonna take a bunch of shots, hit a bunch of threes. Um, yeah, I don't see why he doesn't score like 40 points and obviously and when there's a game that doesn't rely on defense being played, everyone's getting cooked. So like
Yeah.
Luca doesn't stand out more than usual.
No, I get that. I got Ant-Man. I think Anthony Edwards is going to do it. I think he's going to I think he's going to show off. I think it's his way of like, you motherfuckers are going to definitely know who I am after this game. And it's going to be fun to watch because I kind of look for someone that might have a chip on his shoulder coming in, and it's definitely Ant. I mean, he's not a starter and he should be a starter. Um I
Maybe you think he should be starting over SGA?
he really should be a starter. So,
You think
I'm
he
sorry.
should be starting over SGA though? Hold up.
No,
I mean,
but maybe.
I mean,
Like,
I don't hate that take. I don't hate that take at all. I just think, oh man, he's been boofing on the NBA this year.
yeah, but this team, it's the best team in the NBA, right? Still number
The
one in the West.
Yeah, the top of the NBA has been fluctuating a lot. Like that 1 through 5 is tight. So
Yeah,
there's not a lot to separate those guys. So they're in that realm of teams without a doubt. You're not wrong. So it's they're
but
they're
I mean,
both they're
I
both
also
looking
think
great.
I also think Ant's doing it with guys like Cat and Rudy Gobert also on the same team. And that's I think that plays a factor in his shot selection and everything like that. We're just lucky that Wally Zerbiak isn't on the T Wolves right now. Otherwise, that team would be absolutely just tearing it up in the NBA, like 40 wins by now. Like they would have the longest winning streak. Just we're just glad that Wally Zerbiak was born a little earlier.
Yeah, and we're lucky that that people's faces are safe.
Still the best referee call of all time.
Well, and the clip is golden because Bruce Bowen flies out of nowhere. Like he like literally
He
comes in
doesn't even
he
try.
he comes in off screen. Like he literally he jumps from fucking out of the close up and then kicks Wally right in the face.
And
And
he
yeah,
doesn't even try. It's just
just
that
like how do you react to that?
ref call was so funny. The ref was like, foul, kick,
Like kick face,
face,
kick face. Yeah, that's
2 at the line.
yeah. Either way, 2 shots. Yeah, that's a fucking hilarious moment. Yeah, so we're coming up towards the end of the episode. Is there anything that you're thinking of you want to get off your chest, my dude?
No, not right now. I think we're good. I think we're in a good spot. Hopefully the Spurs can figure it out. I would love to see them try to win like 18 games, which would, it's steep, but it's possible. I mean, we're really not playing for anything, so maybe don't have the worst record the Spurs have ever had with your number one pick of the future. So that would be nice.
Yeah, that would be pretty chill to not be listed as the worst Spurs team to ever exist.
Yeah.
That would be kind of cool, right? Yeah, no, I agree wholeheartedly. But yeah, want to use just a quick 20 seconds. Yeah, I agreeing with what you said earlier. Trae Young has been super disrespected. If he didn't make the All-Star team, it'd been the first player ever with 2 consecutive 25-10 seasons to not make an All-Star team. So I'm glad he made it in just off the injury. But yeah, absolutely crazy. But yeah, that's another episode of the Baseline Bums podcast. It's been fun.
Next episode, we're going to talk about the All-Star weekend as a whole, and we're going to do a deep dive in our picks for the winners of the skills challenges and slam dunks and 3-point. Steph versus Sabrina. Let's go.
Yeah, fun stuff there. But yeah, it's been your host, Rob, a.k.a. B-Ball Archives. And once again, I'm joined with my host, AJ. What's good? And,
go Spurs, go.
Go Spurs, go. Peace.
Play the theme music.
Yep.